Good morning, everybody. I don't have my webcam working today, so it's just going to be me and you in the video screen. I want to remind us that this kind of week all builds on each other. Our session yesterday, we wanted you to think about what your story was really about, and one way we did that was to make our inside-outside, internal, external chart. External being the events that are happening, our internal chart being the feelings that we associated with those events. And we started with the internal part to make sure that then we did have those events that corresponded to them. And one of our tasks yesterday was to, if we didn't have an event that corresponded to it, that we wanted to go back and add that event in. For today's session, I want to just think about what new scenes might we add into some of our story that we already have that really help to showcase some of our feelings. So I wanted to show you how I did that on the cowboy piece I'm working on, and I went ahead and typed this section into a document so that maybe you could see that better. So here is what I had originally. Just when we got home, we went to search for him. So first we looked in the garage, and then next we went through the dog yard, and then finally we split up around the house and we didn't see him. But none of this really kind of gets into that feeling of guilt or irresponsibility that we had talked about together with our last session yesterday. So this is a good time to add a new scene that helps me showcase that I'm starting to feel a little bit of that guilt or irresponsibility. So it doesn't have to be a long scene for whatever emotion. You just want to make sure that you've got maybe some words or phrases or a bit of a paragraph that kind of get into that. So I might talk about how, so we're still out in the yard, so maybe I'm taking off my sunglasses. Oops. Kind of brown. And still kind of thinking about cowboy. And how I can get out of this mess. Maybe I want God to put up a big flashing sign in the sky. But I need to get in that feeling of irresponsibility. So, how sometimes like you get so mad that you're not crying, but you got tears in your eyes. So maybe I will start that way. Frustrated tears pricked my eyes. And then I could think to myself, maybe how Judy was reminding me all of the things I needed to do. So maybe I can like, I replayed Judy's warnings over and over in my head. Remember, he is fast. Remember, he is hard to catch once he is out. Remember, you are that's a good one. You are responsible for him and his safety. That's pretty good. On my head. That was Mike. He's on our video too. His face got burnt yesterday. I hung my head thinking, let me see. I don't know. I'll have to, maybe I can think in my head. No, let's not hang it. Let's just shake it. I shook my head thinking, how could you have not taken better care of him, Aaron? So when we look then at, and this may be a little bit long, but we look then at a part of our story that we have, and we can go back in to add in some of our actions or feelings that mimic our emotions that we're having, or we can add a new scene that helps showcase that progression of our feelings. All right? So last session we asked what our story was really about, and we found the emotions that worked with them, making sure that we have our scenes that go with that. And today I just wanted to show you that not necessarily just making sure that we have our scenes, but that in our scenes that we are having our dialogue and description to convey that, or we're adding a bit of a new scene in order to showcase that. Another thing that I had tried in my notebook and I didn't like how it was just instead of this kind of this mini scene, I did a flashback to the time that Cowboy escaped in the kennel, and it took us a couple of hours to get him back. But that took several paragraphs, and it seemed to me like it was maybe just too long for this bit of story. So instead, I think maybe just making sure that I show that I'm frustrated, that I'm starting to feel guilty, and questioning myself. I think that does it a little shorter way. So as you work this week, that's your job, remembering what is your story really about. And I know a lot of you have said, well, I just don't have anything to write about because it's just so bored. Boredom has a place. And when you're bored, how does that play out? Like, what is, do you get frustrated because you're bored and then do something? Do you get angry? Do you get sad? Do you force yourself to get up and go outside, or do you sink deeper into, Netflix? So think about those emotions in a serious way, and what are the actions that you do because of those, and add that in. Even if you feel that it's not the most exciting car chase, catch the bad guy kind of scene, it will come across as genuine and real if you're making sure to ground that into what your story is really about. Oh, I can't wait to read it. I'm here 10:30 and 4 if you have questions or concerns, and I'll check back in with you then.